Brian chomping at the bit over there to get done with this.
Let's get going.
Brian does not like sharing the spotlight.
Let's talk about this Nitro show.
I don't know if I've ever seen a show that was as shitty as this, but still a vast improvement over the show the week before.
And somebody told you last week that the one
they were
coming
wrong.
up was worse, and they were so
this
wrong.
This was not a good show.
A terrible show.
And the last segment of the show was atrocious. Like, I'd say an hour and a half into the show, I was very convinced that there was no way that this was worse than last week.
Yeah.
And they were trying very hard to change my mind in that last 30 minutes.
The second...
They couldn't do it.
The last 1/3 to 1/2 of the show was almost as bad as the stuff on last week's show.
Yeah, this was way better.
The first half was fine.
This show opens with Booker T arriving. The first thing Tony Schiavone says is, "What a week this man has had." And I was like, no shit. He had the worst night ever that a champion could have on Nitro last week. And apparently we missed a bunch of shit on Thunder.
Yep.
I don't know what it was, nor do I care. But he shows up with Levestia, his soon-to-be ex-wife. So things aren't going to get any better for him in the short term.
No.
Well, I don't know. Upgrade, if you ask me.
So anyway, Levestia, she goes through all the trouble of flying into town, driving Booker to the building, and then when they get out of the car, she attempts to talk him out of appearing on the show. That ship has sailed, lady. He's here. He comes out for a promo. He's all beat up, but he's still here. Lots of people in the back are whining, but the fans demanded him. The bookers could not listen to the fan. Didn't say bookers. It was a championship committee or whatever.
The powers to be.
May have been that, I forget. But said the fans wanted Booker and Sting, but that got taken away by Goldberg. Tonight, me and Sting are going to go to war. At this point, Jarrett interrupts.
You'll never guess what Jeff Jarrett comes out and says.
Dude, this was going along so good, and Jeff Jarrett's music hit, and it like somebody let all the air out of the building.
He cries.
He was angry.
He's angry that he's the chosen one.
Yes.
He's the one with all the strokes, slap nuts, and he wants the belt.
Yeah.
It's literally like comedy at this point. How did I not see this the first time around? It must have been because it was like new, and I hadn't seen like another 20 years of slap nuts and the chosen one and all that shit. But fucking looking back now, it's astonishing.
I don't disagree. So they get into a fight. Booker T hits the sidekick, but this damages his knee, which apparently got injured on Thunder.
No. This was last week when he went for the leapfrog and got taken out.
Yes.
He actually did hurt his knee.
Oh, really?
And so he didn't hurt it like bad,
Yeah.
but he hurt it.
Okay.
And so they did a storyline where now his knee is hurt.
Got it.
So he does actually have a hurt knee.
Well, Jarrett puts him in a figure four in the ropes in a way that would do nothing more than a regular figure four. Sting comes out to make the save, and he has the Sting gear on, the black bodysuit with the scorpion on the side and the mechanic's gloves, but he's still got an Invisible Man mask on.
Even though last week he said that he was going to take it off no matter what the writers wanted.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah. He comes out and he chases Jarrett away, and then he takes his mask off.
Yeah. No burns.
No.
Not a one.
There's not a scar, there's not a cut, there's nothing. He's totally fine.
He may be prettier than before
crazy.
the fire. Also, this means he flew to the building, put his Burns mask on, ran down to take the burn mask off with the face paint underneath.
Yeah, so you would be swerved.
Yeah.
By the way, going back to Jarrett for a minute and letting the air out of the building, he is so uncool. He comes out on the ramp, and his first line, "Let me drop the bomb on your mom."
He did say this. That is a quote.
What?
Well,
It was cringeworthy.
then Jarrett said that he was going to give Sting and Booker a show tonight. Slap Nuts Theater. That's what he said.
I don't want to see that.
And he yanked Levestia over the railing and hit her with a guitar and left her for dead.
Yes. So after the break, Booker is outraged, but Sting says, "You go to the hospital with your wife. I will deal with Jeff Jarrett."
And Booker's putting her to the ambulance and he screams, "I'm going to kill him!" They go to commercial. So let's keep that in mind. Levestia has been hit with a guitar.
Mm-hmm.
She has been loaded onto a stretcher. Mm-hmm. She's been loaded into an ambulance.
Right.
And
Yes.
her and her husband are going to the hospital together.
Right.
Correct.
Okay. They're leaving.
So as the announcers are recapping an angle, this is the exact quote Tony Schiavone uses to describe the Canyon Buff Bagwell thing on Thunder. Quote, Canyon forced Buff to agree to a match where his mother would be on the line.
Yeah.
And then he still put her in the Canyon cutter. And then positively Canyon ran out of the building before Buff could even get his hands on him.
What? Okay,
So no one's watching the show, in case you couldn't tell.
the next match is Buff Bagwell versus Vito with Judy Bagwell in a gimmick neck brace doing commentary. Okay?
Appalling.
Huh.
It's ridiculous.
Who would do that?
So they're plugging the upcoming Judy Bagwell on a pole match.
Yeah.
Okay? Now this is one of those things. This is not the Mandela effect.
Okay.
Okay? I remember this. But Judy Bagwell on a pole is one of those things that is so fucking ridiculous
I'll say.
that the memory of it is like it is a terrible joke that somebody had
Yes.
that nobody ever actually did. And now here I am watching it happen.
Yeah.
They did a Judy Bagwell on a pole match. I saw it the first time.
Yeah.
I fucking wrote about it in 2 books. I've been talking about it for 19 years. And I'm watching it here and I can't believe my fucking eyes that they're going to do a Judy Bagwell on a pole match. It's like the reverse Mandela effect. Like, I can't even believe this actually did happen.
You can't believe it's not a dream.
Yeah. So now, I swear to God, they're having this nothing happening match. And Judy Bagwell is on commentary. And she's horrible, okay? The whole storyline, and we have mentioned this before, but now it's like this really is the storyline. He is a fucking idiot.
Yes.
Okay? The story is he is bringing his mother to the building, but she, being in the building, is distracting him
Yes.
from being able to do his job.
That's a fact.
What?
So as he's wrestling, he will have control, and he'll look out the side and he'll get suspicious,
Yes.
and he'll go run and spin a cameraman around thinking it's Canyon, and the cameraman is 5'10" and 180 pounds with a buzz cut.
So everyone, I'm not
It's
making
not
this
Canyon.
up. I'm not kidding about this. Buff is supposed to be a popular baby face.
Right.
Okay? His mother is supposed to be someone that you like and you care about. Canyon is supposed to be the heel.
Right.
This fucking moron keeps leaving the ring to tend to his mother that he brought to ringside. And in the middle of this, he ends up distracted and he costs himself the match.
Yeah. Vito pins him. Clean. He goes for a sunset flip, and Vito sits on him and pins him because he's the better wrestler.
What an absolute fucking idiot.
Yes.
Like, it's mind-blowing.
We could do an hour-long show on the Judy Bagwell angle and everything wrong with it.
Even his mother is yelling at him. And it actually took me a long time to figure out it was his mom because her voice is just horrendous, okay? She sounds like the cigarette. You know, people sound like they smoke too much. She actually sounds like the cigarette. She's fucking going, "Don't worry about me. I'm fine, Marcus." And he's out there. I mean, I'm like, what the fuck is this? Are you kidding me? It's the worst. This is the worst. And it was better than last week.
Her voice has all the sensuality of rubbing 2 bricks together.
I'm not going to say anything mean about the man's mother.
Okay.
So
I didn't say anything about her, just her voice. On commentary.
you compared her to a cigarette.
Well, she doesn't have a good commentary voice.
Okay.
That's okay.
So
My mother wouldn't either.
How do you
So the storyline, as we've mentioned, for weeks now, Judy Bagwell has been attacked by a delusional lunatic, an angry, dangerous criminal who is continually attacking her in the parking lot, grabbing her by the head, and dropping her face first to the floor, over and over and over again. She comes down to the ring. She does have a neck brace on, but otherwise, you've never seen a happier woman. She's having the time of her life.
She's on TV.
She's on TV every week. And sure, every once in a while, a 250-pound trained killer tries to take her head off. But it's time to wave and talk to the fans. Like, if this wasn't so stupid, it would be the most hateable thing ever. But it's so stupid you can't take it seriously. It's very stupid. Kwee Wee is in Kat's office. And yes, it's not Kiwi, it's Kwee Wee.
Yeah. They got to brand something.
Per the network little the previews at the bottom, capital K WEE hyphen capital WEE.
I would guess that you have sold more gimmick battle royal shirts than Kwee Wee sold anything in his entire lifetime, and the amount of money they spent to trademark Kwee Wee,
a money loser.
$62 million, everyone.
Oh my lord!
And they blame it on AOL.
So Kwee Wee wants a match with the artist.
So the gimmick is he is an effeminate fella.
Sure.
Who in the 90s, an effeminate fella is portrayed as a cowardly weakling.
Sure.
Right.
Is that the safest way to put it here? Okay. But the storyline is the swerve is when he gets mad, he's a badass.
Sure.
That's the story.
Okay.
So he gets mad. He throws a tantrum, and Kat says he slaps the cat with a slipper, and the cat relents and gives him his match with the artist.
He also took the time to clear all the stuff off his desk, which there's a callback later.
Okay, I didn't notice it here. I noticed it later.
Yeah, he threw all the stuff off of Kat's desk.
Kwee Wee did.
Kwee Wee did.
Okay, I see. I didn't notice it here, but thank you for bringing that up. Okay. Pamela interviews Kanyon, and I know we've buried Pamela in the past. She had like the best question I've ever seen in a pro wrestling interview.
Did you write it down?
And
I did.
Kanyon gave the best answer.
Did you write it down with the like in the middle?
Not with a like, no.
Okay.
Her question was, why do you want Judy as your new Kimberly?
Oh, before that, there's actually one that she asked. Oh, no, that was the first question. You're right. And he had no good answer.
His answer was, he wants to teach that old battle axe to know her role in wrestling.
Yeah.
She has no role. She's Buff's mom.
Now, the comedy is Judy Bagwell is going to replace Kimberly.
Yeah. He says, I want her to do for me everything that Kimberly did for DDP.
Huh?
And then the question I thought was so funny
No accounting for taste.
is Pamela says, and I quote, do you feel like a man, like Kanyon cutting all these women? And he goes, yeah, I'm going to Kanyon cut you. He goes to grab her, and who should make the save for Pamela Paul Shock but mean Gene Okerlund?
Gentlemen.
Kanyon grabs him, they cut away, and you hear a "Aah!" and they turn around, and there's Gene writhing on the ground. He's been Kanyon cut.
I'm glad they were smart enough to figure out the off-camera Kanyon cutter.
Yes.
Don't have untrained people trying to take bumps on cement. It's bad.
So he gives him the Kanyon cutter, and Buff immediately is backstage.
Yeah.
And he's told what happened. And I swear to God, this is what happens. He runs over, he sees Kanyon, he gives him a DDT, and they cut away.
Yep.
That's it. That's it.
Feud over, I guess.
And I'm not talking like he gives him the DDT and he goes like this and he looks around. He's like, hey, and everyone comes over to take care of Kanyon. He hits the move and they cut away. Done.
No need for
That's
the
it.
match.
It's over. No more in the next 2 hours.
Yeah. I assume that's the end of the feud. Buff has now gotten his revenge.
No, they have the Judy on a pole match.
I was kind of hoping they would cancel it because this seemed to be the end of the
It's
story.
not the Mandela effect. This match happens.
Sting
Is destroying shit.
the icon, the face of the company, is like a man. He's supposed to be hunting for Jeff Jarrett, but he's just walking around hitting shit with his bat.
Yeah.
Just destroying shit for no reason. The artist versus Kwee Wee. We are told that on Thunder, Paisley, who is still with the artist, but we have another Wandering Eye storyline because Paisley was flirting on Thunder with a debuting wrestler named Skip Over.
What?
Yes.
Elix Skipper?
It's Elix. Eventually, it's Elix Skipper. They realize Skip Over is among the worst names
I totally forgot
ever.
about Skip Over.
And Skip Over is the worst name ever. And this is in a segment talking about Kwee Wee. So, Kwee Wee is super aggressive. The announcers are marking out for him. The artist is a dope German suplex. This is a very fun match, actually.
Sure.
And Kwee Wee does a move where, like, he starts a side slam, and when Artist goes up for a head scissors, Kwee Wee just drops him on his face and pins him.
Mark Madden called him, Kwee Wee is like the flamboyant Luthez.
It's just like
a bad show for Madden.
it wasn't a bad match, but
No,
it's
it was-
fucking the Artist versus Kwee Wee.
Right.
With
Who could care?
Kwee Wee being like this badass street fighter, and the Artist is randomly in street fighting gear with his fist tape, which no one even explains.
Well, because he was angry about Paisley flirting with Skip over.
So he fucking taped his fist and just wore
Well,
clothes?
That's the story.
Last week,
I didn't write it.
You know, I was going to be in the Olympics and swimming, and I got really pissed off, so I wore my clothes in the water.
Okay.
What? It's fucking dumb.
Now, last week, Paisley was making eyes at Kwee Wee.
Yes.
And by the way, Mark Madden in this match, like, he was insufferable.
Yes.
He had a horrible
Going
night.
crazy about Kiwi and his finish, and I'm like, fuck, get out of here.
Vinny, if I may.
Yes.
Next off, Scott Steiner barges into Kat's office. Now, Kat, who had just had all his belongings thrown to the floor, quickly stands up, opens a drawer, and puts all his stuff
Okay.
into the drawer. And I laughed
See,
and laughed and laughed.
I saw that happen. Did Kat just clean up his own desk?
Yes.
I really wanted to watch it. Yes, Kat cleaned up his own desk.
He didn't want his stuff
I
to get
didn't get
broken.
why at first, and now I realize because Kwee Wee had knocked him off before.
Yes.
He didn't want to pick everything up again.
I loved it.
So Steiner wants a title match. Kat says Booker's not even here, and if he does come back, he's got a match with Sting. And Steiner says, "Fuck that," which I don't think was a quote, but it may have been. You never know.
It might have been.
Booker, he says, has a pipe match with me in the back tonight.
But he does.
Kevin Nash arrives at the building. If this is a mighty big if there's a dumber man in this company than Buff Bagwell, it's Norman Smiley.
Fair.
He steps into the door where a pissed off Medeja is 2 feet inside, waiting for somebody to come in. She's got her arms crossed. There's nothing welcoming or friendly about this at all. Norman shoots his shot. And he tries to flirt with her, invites her to do the big wiggle. So you never guess what happens. Scott Steiner wipes him from the earth. Just ends him. MIA to a promo.
They declared war against Canada.
Yeah.
They did.
So
They're outnumbered.
explain to me. I mean, maybe I'm like a fucking idiot, which is possible, but he sends Lieutenant Loco to defend the cruiserweight title against Lance Storm, who's easily 220, 225 pounds.
Not a cruiserweight.
Was it explained why Lance Storm was getting a cruiserweight championship match?
No one even questioned it.
Okay, all right. And then he sends Major Guns to take out Miss Hancock in a hardcore match. What? Anyway, so Lance comes out for a promo, and he renames the hardcore title the Saskatchewan Hardcore International title. If you don't get it, Mark Madden makes sure to point out, can't use them initials.
Lance gets to the L in title. He hasn't even gotten to the E yet. And Madden's already explaining the joke. So much for using the initials on that one.
Yes.
Thanks, Mark. In case the dumbest of dumbest motherfuckers is watching this show, you explain that joke for them.
He wants to rename the company World Canadian Wrestling, which I thought was funny. World Canadian.
World Canadian Wrestling is funny.
Yes. Don't blame Canada, blame yourself.
There's a lot of good workers in Canada. I think it'd be all right.
And they
do a lot worse.
Anyway,
So this match starts, and I forget which announcer it was, but I did write this down. Oh, it was Madden, of course. It was Madden. I've got more good news, too, he says. Since Mrs. Booker bought a ticket, WCW is not responsible for the injury. There is no legal problem.
What?
What?
well,
So any wrestler at any time
Unprovoked.
can attack any fan, and WCW is off the hook?
this is complete bullshit, okay? But this was Madden who said this.
Yes.
Okay. So when she was first attacked, Madden claimed that she had come over the guardrail, which she did.
Well, kind of.
But she was yanked
She
in.
did because her hair was pulled
Yeah, she was
over it.
yanked in. But his point was, because he's a heel announcer,
I see.
she came over the guardrail.
I see.
So it was her fault.
He couldn't even explain his own joke
Yeah, this
here.
was stupid. So anyway, the highlight of this match is the fucking logo on the mat is very slick. In the middle of this match, Lance just fucking takes a bump.
Yep.
It's the classic slipping on a banana peel bump.
Yes.
He's just like moving across the ring, and his feet go up, and his head goes down.
Yep.
And he goes splat. And I laughed, and I laughed, and I laughed. And I went to Twitter to joke about this, and I see a tweet from Lance.
Yeah.
Talking about the time he slipped on the logo.
Yep. Believe it or not, he told me he got them to get rid of the logo.
Good.
Yeah. It's just amazing that, like,
In fact, I'm going to look up the exact...
nobody else had this problem and or complained about it.
It took that long.
So anyway, they do the match. Lance wins. This 225-pounder. he may have been 220, 215. I think it's probably 225. But anyway, he's now the Cruiserweight champion. And as dumb as it was that Lance became the Cruiserweight champion, okay? He's now holding 3 belts.
That's right.
Tony Schiavone asked if anyone has ever held 3 belts before, forgetting Ultimo Dragon held 9 belts 2 years earlier, and he was talking about it. Kevin fucking Nash comes down to the ring.
Yeah.
And the first thing that Scott Hudson says as he storms down the ramp is, well, he's definitely not a cruiserweight. And I'm like,
Scott.
like that fucking matters. So he comes down, and, I mean, this is low praise, okay?
Okay.
But to their credit, Lance at least stood up to the guy before he got his ass handed to him.
Well, he tried.
Wow, you have gone so far to find the silver lining in this dark cloud.
Dude, 9 times out of 10, when Nash comes down to the ring, the guys in the ring cower and he beats their ass. At least Lance stood up to the guy before he got his ass beaten.
The only thing is Lance has just won his third
I know,
title.
it's fucking stupid.
3
It's
weeks in
so
a row.
fucking dumb. They do this shit all the time. Somebody wins, and then some other guy comes down and beats him up. Russo has done this like 10 fucking times in 12 shows.
It's not even that. It's the comedy of 9-foot-tall Kevin Nash and Lance Storm in the ring together, and Lance looking up at him.
He's big. There's no doubt he's big.
It's dumb. It's just stupid. Why give the guy 3 belts and have Kevin Nash beat him up?
Absolutely.
Anyway,
so
he gets beat up.
Lance, when he went backstage to talk about how slippery the logo was, warned everyone, to which Arn Anderson replied, if that thing can make you look clumsy, it will make the rest of these guys look like drunks chasing a hat in a windstorm. Which is a great line. Funnier than anything we will see on this show.
Well, let me talk about Nash's promo here.
Must we?
Yes. This is the depths to which we have descended in the year 2000 in World Championship Wrestling, okay? Kevin fucking Nash comes down to the ring and he says, there is a saying in wrestling called working yourself into a shoot. Mm-hmm. I heard what Goldberg said about me.
Do we have to do this in real time?
I've been doing this for 12 years.
He may still be talking.
And there's only one time that I was not a professional in the ring. There was a Canadian guy, he says, who decided it wasn't his night because they were in Montreal and it was his hometown. So the next night in Quebec City, I beat his ass and beat him in the middle. Now, for those of you that have no idea what this fucking guy was talking about, he was talking about PCO. There was a night where Carl Ouellet decided, it's my hometown, I'm going to win tonight.
I forgot that.
And he won, and the next night, Kevin Nash gave him a beating and then beat him. Wasn't like a shoot, but he fucking gave him a beating. Nash is bringing this up in this fucking thing. Nobody knows what he's talking about. Mm-hmm. Okay, so he throws this in a line, and he says, yeah, before I got into this business, I might have played some basketball, but I wasn't holding anyone's hands. And if anyone is patting anyone else's asses, it's the football players. Now he's making gay jokes.
Well, now this feud...
And breaking kayfabe.
And that feud is about football versus basketball now.
Says, I've bounced all over the place. A lot of nights the NFL players would come in, have some suds, and we'd kick all their asses. I am not a wrestler, Kevin Nash says. I am not a wrestler.
I'll say.
I am not a football player. I am a fighter, and I don't lose fights. He then says, I can't guarantee in Vancouver that I will be that professional. My knees are old and beaten up, but if you go to charge at me, one of these rickety knees might shove your nose into your brain. So we're supposed to believe Kevin Nash is shooting.
We're supposed to believe...
He's threatening to go against the script at the pay-per-view. And not only that, he's telling Goldberg how he's going to shoot on him.
Yes.
That's a poor plan.
Now, by the way, if you think this is dumb, just wait until see what they actually do at New Blood Rising. It puts this shit to shame. I think that's the show they do it on.
I'm pretty sure that's the show we're all thinking of.
I almost vomited listening to this.
Let's see, it's Kevin Nash twice on this show insinuated that most of his matches are fake.
All of them!
Except for that one in Quebec City.
All but one.
And this one upcoming with Goldberg.
Yep.
Those would be the only 2 real matches.
Yep.
Everything else is a fake fight.
But he was a real fighter before wrestling.
Yeah.
And he's going to shoot on this guy in the ring, and he's going to tell him how he's going to do it.
With his rickety knees.
Yeah.
Also, he's still going to get Scott Hall back in the company. I don't fucking know.
Who gives a shit?
Steiner interrupts.
Like, seriously, if you only watch the show, what in the fuck is he talking about with Scott Hall?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I wrote about it. I don't even know what he's talking. I mean, he's not there, clearly.
No.
But, like, why? No one knows.
Steiner interrupts. I've never been so happy to see Scott Steiner. He calls Nash a piece of shit and attacks him. They are immediately separated by security.
They had the most horrible fake brawl after this fucking supposed shoot promo. And then, after a shoot promo, Nash goes backstage, and Shat says, well, if you want to handle this tonight, you guys can go have a straight jacket match.
Yeah. Cat was prepared. Well, explain, Brian, what the stipulations are for a straight jacket match. Or do you want me to?
You put the guy in the jacket, and then you can beat him until you get tired.
Right. And that's how you win.
Yeah.
You beat him until you get tired.
Yep.
And that's how you win. Now, in between these 2 segments...
This show's better than last week. I just want to reiterate that.
By a wide margin.
Yeah.
We cut backstage. Jeff Jarrett's walking around happy as a clam. Sting, the mime from hell, who's supposed to be a babyface, a hero, has been wrecking furniture and destroying shit, searching this guy for like a half hour now. He's not even hiding.
No.
What an idiot Sting must be. So Jarrett comes out, calls out Sting, and Sting just walks on out. Thank God Jarrett challenged him, otherwise Sting might have never found him. So we get Sting versus Jarrett, and all I can say, this was so much a Sting versus Jeff Jarrett match.
Where neither one cares.
Where neither one cares.
Just a nothing happening, basic, not horrible, not good.
Sting makes a big babyface comeback, and then 700 things have to happen. There's a ref bump and a chair and all this fuckery with weapons, and Sting eventually hits a death drop on the chair.
The ref counts the pin with a chair underneath the fucking guy.
Yes. He gets the pin. Jarrett loses to set up his title match against Booker T in 2 weeks at New Blood Rising.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's all true.
We go to break. When we come back, we see an ambulance driving away. For the life of me, I could not have told you, in given 50 guesses, I could not have told you who was in this. Apparently, it's supposed to be Jarrett.
Right.
Because he got death dropped onto a chair?
Yep.
Yeah. Of all the shit that happens in the show and people don't go to the hospital.
But then he's back like 20 minutes later.
Yes. So as the ambulance leaves...
They're trying hard.
I guess.
To top last week's show?
Yeah.
Booker T pulls in. The Red Rooster is there to immediately stooge Jarrett off. So he was in the car going away. Then he stooges Sting off. He's that way. And Booker T goes to find him. Okay.
Yeah, Booker's back. His wife is hospitalized. Mm-hmm. And I guess they were like, she ain't gonna die. It's like, well, I got a match tonight. So, see ya.
See ya, baby.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is a 4-way tag team championship match at the pay-per-view.
Well, we think. Because wasn't there a match last week and the losing team was out of the match?
Oh, gosh.
I've wiped that from my mind. The point being, they are advertising a 4-way tag team title match. To set that up, we have a 3-team tag team title match here.
Yeah.
Chronic versus Vampiro and Great Muta versus Mark Jindrak and Sean O'Hare.
Chronic are the champions.
With the perfect event on commentary.
Is that who's on commentary?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. I couldn't figure out who was on commentary, but somebody on commentary sounded exactly like Vampiro, which led to this moment where I think Vampiro's doing commentary, but I'm watching Vampiro in the ring.
That would be a good
And
gimmick.
I couldn't figure out if it was someone that sounded like Vamp or if there was a fake Vamp.
Actually, Rock did this one time. He did commentary as he had a match.
But I'm sure like he had a microphone with him.
Yeah, exactly.
I like the idea of his own disembodied voice. But
This match was horrible.
this fucking match.
It was not as bad as the cage match, but
No.
it was close.
Everyone's out of position.
No.
No one knew where they were supposed to
There
be.
was no position for anyone to be in. They were all 6 of these fucking guys were in it's like an 18-foot ring, maybe 16. They're all in this tiny little fucking ring, and no one knows where they're supposed to be or what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, that's what I wrote.
There's just bodies everywhere. Everybody's confused. Everybody's in everybody's way. And finally, Jindrak hits Vamp with a senton. And at the same time, Bryan Adams happens to pin Muta.
Right.
And Jindrak and O'Hare are mad that someone stole a pin in an anything goes 3-way tag team match?
You're being too kind to it.
No, I'm not.
It's much worse than this. So, Chronic, who I think are babyfaces, are the ones who bring a chair into this match. Chairs get involved, bodies flying everywhere. So the real finish is going to be Adams pinning Muta. So they've got Muta down, and Adams just kneels by him and just waits. He just waits. Jindrak and O'Hare do a bunch of shit with Vampiro. Jindrak does he's standing on the mat and does a giant top rope Rana because he's a freak athlete. And O'Hare does the big Jeff Hardy senton because he's also a freak athlete. And after all this happens, Bryan Adams has been sitting there with his hands on his knees, looking around, watching the show, and then they do that, and then he makes the cover and the ref counts 3. This was awful. And then there's more fighting afterwards. Vampiro or Muta missed both the dudes in Chronic, and they pose with the belts. And for all I know, they may be the champs now.
They're not. It's Chronic. It's a dumb.
The cat is in his office. By the way, if you haven't figured out, we've reached the point where they're outwardly trying to do a horrible show. Cat meets with Shane Douglas and Tori Wilson. Says, I enjoyed what happened on Thunder. I'm looking around, what the fuck happened on Thunder? We found out later. Says, tonight, I am booking Shane Douglas versus Billy Kidman in a Viagra on a pole match.
Yep. The famous Viagra on a pole match.
And Douglas is outraged. Booker T meets with Sting. They confirm they're both okay. Jarrett's gone. They may as well follow through on their commitment to wrestle each other. I'm in if you're in. I'm in. Right, match is on. Jindrak and O'Hare do a promo with Chronic. See, this is a good thing to do. Since they don't have a NXT to send these guys to, they're going to have them do a promo. They gave them each one line to say. They said their line, and they were done. Great. They're mad at Chronic. It's a bunch of crap. They're green guys. Whatever. We're all about paying our dues, they say. So, fine. This accomplished what it was supposed to do. So, the setup for the Shane Douglas versus Billy Kidman Viagra on a pole match. You will recall that last week on Nitro, Billy Kidman had a sex tape of himself and Tori Wilson. Shane Douglas's bright idea was to produce his own sex tape with Tori and show it on Thunder. But then he was having a rough night. He had his own stage fright, I guess. But he still took the tape into Thunder. And they showed it as he couldn't get the job done. What?
I don't know.
Am I right? Did something more logical happen that I did not catch?
I fast-forwarded through that part, so
right.
I missed it. But I must talk a little bit about the actual match itself.
I have a lot to say about the match
So
itself.
let me keep it quick. So, last week we had a 4-team cage match that was maybe the worst match of all of the year 2000. And nobody ever talks about it. It's like it never happened. Meanwhile, people have been talking about this Viagra on a pole match for 19 years. And the reality is, the match was fine.
It's a million times better.
It was Kidman versus Douglas having a wrestling match. And then at the very end, Douglas gets the Viagra. Shane gives him the franchiser as the ref is distracted. And Shane wins. But like, on a scale of bad matches, like, it doesn't even register.
No.
This may have been the best match on the fucking show. But because it was a Viagra on a pole match, like everybody was so outraged at the time. But like looking back 19 years, I'm far more appalled by the previous match.
Yes.
I'm far more appalled by the cage match last week. This was just a dumb idea that was just like done and over with.
So we're given the steps of this match, which are, and I'm not making this up, if you get the bottle of Viagra, you can use it on your opponent. I beg your pardon?
I hadn't thought of that, but now that you mention it,
Yes.
that's a hardcore step.
That is a very hardcore step. So Madden has 1,001 dick jokes.
Sure.
None of them are funny.
No.
Not a one. And finally, Tony Schiavone, the pro's pro. On the night where they're acknowledging the passing of Gordon Soley, Tony can take no more, and he turns to Madden and just screams, "Shut up! Shut up!" So, Billy Kidman hits the unprettier, and he goes up to get the bottle of Viagra. But Tori Wilson takes the ref.
A glass bottle. It's this giant glass bottle. Like cod liver oil is in it.
Yes. It's an old-timey looking bottle.
So, he climbs up. He grabs the bottle of Viagra. "Yay," he says. "I have a bottle of pills."
Yay.
And he climbs down, and he turns around, and Shane Douglas grabs him and hits the franchiser. Mm-hmm. Could they have found a way to make Billy Kidman look like more of a fool?
Yeah, 10 minutes later.
I disagree, but we'll get to that. So the glass, for some reason, the glass bottle breaks on impact of this franchiser, and Shane grabs the shards of the glass bottle. The referee sees him with a glass bottle, and Shane Douglas is declared the winner of the Viagra on a pole match. And then, just to add insult to injury, I guess, Shane rubs Kidman's face in the pills,
Yes.
and he must ingest a lot of Viagra.
Yeah.
Oh, the humiliation.
No, not actually. That was supposed to be the idea, but Tony Schiavone's like, you can die from taking too much of that. That's
true.
I hope he doesn't have a heart condition. ODs aren't funny. That's what he's talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, they actually showed a shot, and Kidman actually had a bunch of pills stuck to his lips
Yeah.
and in his mouth.
I don't know where they got pills, but
Like vitamin C.
yeah.
Sure they were.
Major Guns backstage is putting on her makeup. Miss Hancock backstage is also putting on her makeup. Kevin Nash is preparing his straitjacket. Scott Steiner is doing curls with one of them stretchy bands. And Medeja looks up at him. Medeja hangs out with Scott Steiner all day, every day for months. And she just looks up at him. "Your muscles are huge." That's what she says. Miss Hancock passes by Major Guns in the dressing room, makes fun of her for putting on makeup. They begin to have, like, the worst brawl you ever saw in your
Dude,
life.
let me tell you something, okay? I don't want to sound sexist here, or I don't want to be a pig, but, like, if you're an 18 to 34-year-old young male fan watching this show, which I was at the time, how do you have Miss Hancock and Major Guns having a messy food fight and not have it be, like, awesome?
Well, they
You know
found
what
a
I'm
way.
saying?
They can't even do a food fight.
This was the worst, unsexiest, most horrendous, badly acted, badly performed. It was horrible. Not to mention, they have one table for catering for 400 people in WCW. It's one table, and there's like a cake
Yeah.
and a pie and some fucking carrots or some shit. And I was like, what am I watching? This was so horrible. They're having this terrible food fight, and suddenly we cut from a food fight to, they said David Flair, but I never saw him. But I sure saw AWOL. AWOL is in the ring, and they say he's fighting David Flair. What? And then the girls brawl towards the ring in the dark. You can't even see them.
Yeah.
They brawl their ass down to the ring. I don't even know where David Flair went. He vanished. I still don't think I ever saw him.
He was
out there.
He was there.
Hancock slams Major Guns, pins her with a body slam
Yes.
after a food fight. And then AWOL looks at her and goes, "Ah!" And she leaves, and that's the segment.
Yep.
Okay, here's
I don't even...
here's what you missed. For a time,
I missed nothing.
There were 4 human beings in this ring. AWOL.
That's impossible.
David Flair. Well, maybe using the term human beings loosely, but there were 4 bodies in the ring. David Flair, AWOL, Major Guns, and Miss Hancock. And a table is leaned up in the corner. And they want to break this table because wrestling fans like broken tables. So what happens? AWOL and David Flair leave the ring. Miss Hancock has to try to whip 80 pounds of Major Guns through this table. It didn't work very well. Then she body slams her. Then she pins her. Then she tears her shirt off, which Major Guns does every show anyway. Right. In preparation for the show at the pay-per-view, where you're going to tear her shirt off again. And then AWOL growled at her and she left.
That was horrible.
Just horrible.
They cut backstage.
Okay.
Kidman is being surrounded by Nitro girls. Okay?
The best day of his life.
All right. So the storyline is that the Viagra has kicked in.
Yes.
Sure.
The Nitro girls have noticed.
They all have wandering
this
eyes.
Tent.
They're going south of the border.
And now they want to take him back to his room.
Kidman, as a result of the humiliation of the Viagra, leaves with 3 women.
Yeah.
Right.
But, like, he was so uncool.
We've
You know what I'm saying?
This is one of the lessons of the year 2000.
Oh my God. As much as I bury Kevin Nash for everything, Kevin Nash could have pulled this off.
Oh, and
Billy Kidman? No.
Now I want in 2019 I want Nash to do the skit.
He could pull this off probably in 2019.
Yeah, I'm sure he could. There's no doubt in my mind.
By the way,
Kidman was not pulling this off.
This probably doesn't work to pick up chicks.
I would
painfully
imagine
awful.
I would imagine if you go to a bar and announce,
right. Look at this, ladies.
I had a bunch of Viagra. Look at me.
He didn't announce anything. He was just walking around.
Oh, he announced something.
Look, you can hang a towel.
Well, they were already there. They'd already noticed.
Yeah, yes. So yes, Kidman left to go fuck 3 women. Way to kill the stipulation. Or I guess. Anyway, yeah, Viagra should use this in their commercials. Actually,
Sure.
Well, I mean, he did get it first, so he should have been able to use it. He just lost a wrestling match.
well, per the stips, it was anyway. So, in case we haven't talked about dicks enough, Scott Steiner is a promo referencing John Holmes
Yeah.
in the year 2000.
You're doing that.
All right. Kevin Nash versus Scott Steiner in a straitjacket match. There's no ref in the ring. They're still trying to pin each other.
Just bad.
No one's got any idea what's going on. Medeja hits Nash with the softest chair shot I've ever seen. So
He power bombs the shit out of her.
I mean,
He protected her,
he
but like
did with a gentle power bomb.
the storyline was she barely touched him with a chair shot, and so his response was, "I must power bomb her."
That is how it came off.
That's the story here.
That's how it came off. Rick Steiner runs in and attacks Nash. They put him in the Steiner recliner. They put him in the straitjacket, which takes a while because straitjackets are unwieldy. And as soon as the jacket is on, Steiner's music plays and the match ends and he won.
He was tired, I guess.
I guess that was it.
If only he'd gotten that Viagra.
Be even more tired.
Sting versus Booker T. They're doing this match. They're both selling their leg. They collide. Sting rolls outside.
And an arm.
An arm appears and drags him under the ring.
Just a big fucking thick arm.
Yes.
I'm like, whose arm is that? Little did I know.
Yeah.
I wanted the answer, and then I got it, and I was like, they fuck you on everything.
That was the payoff. So he comes back up from under the ring. He's bleeding.
But he's fine.
He still makes his big comeback.
Yeah.
Because they must have Booker T be a geek in every single segment. Booker T, the world champion, is now getting beat up by a guy who has got one leg and was just attacked by some mad arm under the ring. Eventually, Booker cuts him off. He hits the bookend, and he wins. The ref counts 3. By 3.1, Sting is sitting up going out of the ring.
Yep.
He wants to see whose arm this is to. He goes into the ring, and out appears the Demon.
Out appears what Tony Schiavone says, and I quote, "The man who used to be Dale Torborg used to be a man." What? Now he's a demon, I guess.
All right. Now, on paper, this is the end of the show. What actually happens is Demon, Emuda, and Vampiro attack Sting.
Yep.
At the same time, Jeff Jarrett comes through the crowd and attacks Booker.
Yep.
So they've got like 60 seconds left
Yes.
and 10 minutes of shit to do.
Yes.
So the camera is like cutting back and forth like a strobe.
Yes.
Here is what I am told happened.
No, can I tell you what I saw happen?
Tell me what you saw first.
Okay. Jarrett comes down and he's attacking Booker with a chair, okay? I'm typing. All of a sudden I look up and, as Tony called him, the man who used to be Dale Torborg, who used to be a man, the demon, he is holding a flaming sword.
That's what happened.
That's what Kiss uses in concert.
That's what he had. You're not wrong about any of this. You're exactly
Is
right.
it Revelations? He's got this fucking flaming sword here, and he starts walking towards Booker. Booker? Like, why are you walking towards Booker with a flaming sword? But then he turns,
Fair question.
and he, like, eats the sword or something. I don't even know. But he blows fire.
Spits fire.
There's a fucking coffin, okay, on the stage. He blows fire from the sword onto the coffin, which, like, a little bit of fire goes on the coffin, but then it, like, gets extinguished because they're fucking idiots. They explain to us that Sting is in the coffin.
That's what we're led
What?
to believe. That's what we're led to believe.
Okay, so then Booker is being hung upside down by his leg
right.
Yeah.
while the coffin is on fire.
Sure.
Keep in mind, this all happened in like 1/3 of the time you've actually spent talking
Oh,
about it.
like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And then Jarrett gets this guitar, and he whacks him. He whacks Booker in the leg with this guitar, and the show goes off the air.
Right.
I was like, am I sure this was better than last week? A guy just had a sword that was on fire. Like, what is happening here?
Gene Simmons does that in every concert.
It doesn't matter what he does in a concert, Craig. I saw this on Nitro. Dale Torborg had a flaming sword, and he blew fire onto a fucking coffin that they said that Sting was in.
His gimmick is his Kiss.
I don't care what his gimmick is.
Oh my God.
This was so dumb. Am I wrong, Vinny?
No, you're not wrong.
This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
0% wrong.
Poor Sting. He cannot get away from Dale Torborg
Or Vampiro.
or Vampiro.
They're all, every segment they do is awful. He's just
And
stuck
you
in
know
this
what the
feud.
best part of it is? At the beginning of the show, he comes out and he pulls his fucking thing off and just like throws away the whole storyline.
Right.
He's not burned. He's not hurt. It's all bullshit. And by the end of the show, he's being lit on fire by fucking Dale Torborg again.
Yes. Now, let all this sink in, our description of these events, and keep in mind, we're all unanimous.
It's my heart rate right now.
This show was a vast improvement over the show the week prior.
Yes.
It was,
It was
somehow.
much better.
Well, I guess that's that. If you
I mean, did I miss anything?
I mean, we may have. It's entirely possible
Okay.
we missed things, but to the best of my knowledge, no.
Okay.
Play the song, let's go home.
Well, let's do this.
The finishes on this show were clean pin, clean submission, and everything was looking great. Pin after ref bump and chair usage. Pin in a total mess of a three-way. Fuck finish in a Viagra on a pole match.
You waited your life.
Fuck finish in a straitjacket match, which I was not waiting for. And pin after mystery interference from somebody under the ring.
I can't believe you didn't get more out of fuck finish in a Viagra on a pole match.
I did not put that much effort into it.
Dude, that was your chance. That was once in a lifetime.
I was so sick by that point of all Mark Mann's dick jokes, I don't want to make any
Well,
more.
that's true. But that one was funnier than any of the ones he made.
Yeah, and I didn't try.
Okay.
Because I'm funny.
All right, we're out of time, everybody. You want to wrap it up for today? Oh, Rob's got something to say.
So I would be remiss if I waited until after the show.
Hold on a second.
No, keep going.
Your
keep
mic's
going.
not even plugged in.
That's not?
No, it's
Here,
not.
should I, mine?
Oh, Christ. Just trade places with him. Oh, fuck. This is going to be even worse.
Yeah, well, it gets better. So I'd be remiss if I waited until after the show to say this and not give you the chance to completely fuck me on the air. But the show hasn't been recording.
Excuse me.
The video hasn't been recording.
Not the whole time.
No.
Great.
Yeah.
All right, hand the mic over, Vinny.
Thanks.
Okay, so your theory was if you told us here on the air, I wouldn't.
No. I figured you would take the opportunity to.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got nothing to say. I had a much worse weekend. Well, anyway, this will not be available, everybody, at video.f4wonline.com. But
guys.
at least we've got audio, right?
Yeah.
As far as I can tell.
I mean, there was nothing funny to
Are
see.
you recording the audio?
Are you kidding me? I'm a professional. All right, we're out of time, everybody. We're going to wrap it up for today. But hey, we will have video.
Yeah.
What's today? Tomorrow
Okay.
and Thursday and from here on out. Right? All right, we'll talk to you next time, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.